Should I leave the father of my children after he cheated on me multiple times, including while I was pregnant? Fell for another woman, wants to keep her as a second partner, says he'll only stay with me if I accept it, and I'm trapped in a rural home with no support, no friends? For anyone trying to understand why I make the choices I do or why certain things hit me so deeply, I feel like I need to explain where I come from. My decisions don't come out of nowhere. They come from a lifetime of instability, trauma, and trying to build a sense of safety with whatever scraps I had. I moved across the country after becoming homeless. Truly homeless. No family to fall back on, no friends, no support network. I ended up in South England and somehow managed to piece together a life. Barely. A job, a roof over my head, and 9 years of slow, fragile stability. But I was alone the entire time. I've never had a real support system. And with Asperger's, forming friendships is incredibly difficult for me. I don't bond easily. I don't read social cues well. I can manage one deep relationship at a time, and because of that, my romantic partners have always been my only source of connection. Unfortunately, those relationships started in the worst way possible. I was groomed at 13. By 16, I had left school and my parents' home on the same day, my 16th birthday, to move in with him. Not because I loved him, but because I didn't have anywhere else to go. I stayed with him for 6 miserable years. When I finally got out, I immediately fell into another long-term relationship with someone 2 years younger than me. That one lasted 8 years. I wasn't thriving. I was surviving. I didn't know how to exist without attaching myself to someone. Then I met my now boyfriend. We worked together, and despite our age gap, we clicked effortlessly. Same humor, same interests, same ideas about a simple life. He spent so much time in my tiny apartment above our workplace that eventually it just made sense for him to move in. It happened fast, 3 months, but it felt natural. Things were good, stable, even. Until January 2019. One day, he left his phone screen open, and there it was, a dating site. We shared phones, so it wasn't hidden, just forgotten. I confronted him, shaking. He told me he liked the chase, the attention, the back and forth, the feeling of being wanted by other women. He swore it was only messaging. I believed him. I forgave him. 2 weeks later, he was fired from our workplace. Suddenly, I was the one leaving for work every morning while he stayed home. My anxiety went through the roof. Every hour I was gone, I worried he was online again. It consumed me until I eventually quit my job too. Depression and fear ate me alive. But somehow, we didn't fall apart. In fact, we rebuilt. We started our own business. Slowly we became more financially stable. And we began dreaming together about being self-sufficient, living off-grid, having kids one day, building a life neither of us grew up with. We eventually decided we were ready to have a baby together. It felt like the natural next step after everything we had already survived as a couple. I fell pregnant in April 2019, and for the first time in a long time, I felt genuinely excited about the future, like we were building something meaningful and real. We moved into a new apartment that August. Fresh start, baby on the way, life settling into something that almost resembled normal. But December 2019 shattered everything. Our baby was stillborn at 36 weeks. 1 week we were preparing for life, the next we were planning a funeral. I don't even have the words to describe that kind of pain. It rearranges your insides. It turns time into something that doesn't move the way it used to. We never got counseling. He refused it. Talking doesn't fix anything, he said. So we grieved separately, quietly, in our own private hells. Only his hell had someone he could blame. Me. He told me it was my fault. He said I must have done something wrong. Even after the autopsy, after every test came back clean, after the doctors explained that sometimes these things happen for no discoverable reason, he still blamed me. And he still does. There's something about being blamed for the death of your own child that stains you. Even if it isn't true, it lives under your skin. Months later, when I was trying to pull myself together again, I found out he was back on the same dating site. Same pattern. Same hiding in plain sight mistake of forgetting to close the page on his phone. And then the truth. He hadn't really stopped after I forgave him the first time. He'd been doing it all along. But he insisted it was just online, just messages, just attention. I was exhausted, emotionally wrung out, and I forgave him again. I didn't have the energy to fall apart a second time. Then somehow, we had our rainbow baby. I got pregnant again, and our son was born in November 2020. Healthy. Crying. Alive. And for a while, things felt good. Better than good. We were a family. We had purpose again. But in 2021, out of nowhere, he started talking about polygamy. I thought it was a joke at first, some random what-if conversation. But he kept bringing it up. Then he started referencing Mormons and second wives and shared households. He said it might make our lives easier. He said it would benefit us all. He said he would treat me better if I helped him find someone. And because I was vulnerable, because I didn't want to lose the one person I depended on, because I had built my entire existence around stability with him, I entertained it. I went online. I actually searched for someone to share my partner with. It feels insane to admit it out loud. But I did it. I wanted to keep my family together. It didn't go anywhere, of course. Dead ends, weird messages, nothing real. After a month of trying, something in me snapped back into place. I finally said I wasn't comfortable. I didn't want him romantically involved with anyone else. I've always struggled with low self-esteem, but being with him turned that into something chronic. Something constant. He chipped at me almost daily, little comments, little jabs, little reminders that I wasn't enough, or that he could replace me whenever he felt like it. And whenever we argued, the same threat came out like clockwork. He'd say he was going to physically cheat. Not just flirt. Not just online. Actually cheat. By 2024, we had moved to a rural village to get closer to our dream of living off the land and being self-sufficient. But the further we moved from people, the more trapped I felt. The more isolated. The more dependent on him for everything. Then, during one argument, he casually dropped the bomb that he had kissed a woman, an old school friend he'd been taking our son to visit because she had kids around his age. He said it had happened in 2023.
He said it was a mistake.
That he stopped seeing her afterward. And even though it felt like my insides folded in on themselves, I forgave him. Because what else could I do? Later in 2024, we moved even deeper into the countryside. I can't drive, and this place is so rural, I can't even walk safely to a shop or into the village. It's just miles of silence, roads with no pavements, and a house that feels more like a cage when I think about it too hard. Then I fell pregnant again that autumn. Completely unplanned. Our second son was born in June 2025. And through all of this, his obsession with a second wife never went away. He keeps insisting it's natural for men to want more than one woman. He says it's biology, tradition, whatever justification he thinks will land that day. He promises I'll always be his main priority, as if that's supposed to make the idea palatable. As if being first place in a competition I never agreed to enter is supposed to be comforting. I've told him again and again that it would destroy me emotionally if he ever pursued it. That I cannot handle sharing him. That it's not how I'm built. But he keeps bringing it up like he's planting seeds, waiting for them to take root. And every time I feel myself shrinking just a little more. Like my boundaries are things he sees as challenges, not limits. What hurts the most, though, is the affection. Or the lack of it. Ever since we had kids, including our stillborn, something in him closed off. We don't kiss. We don't hug. We don't touch. We barely even sit close. In 2024, we had sex one single time, and that's when I got pregnant. It wasn't intimacy. It wasn't closeness. It felt like an obligation that turned into another child I wasn't ready for, but love regardless. The last 2 months, he suddenly started driving out to a new town just to do our food shopping. At first I didn't question it. He's always had random whims, and I've learned not to poke at anything that might start an argument. But then, he mentioned wanting to camp overnight in the woods near that town. It struck me as strange, especially because we have 2 children, including a noob still. He insisted he needed space and time to think, so he went. That night, he ghosted me completely. No replies, no reassurance, nothing. I could see he was active on WhatsApp and Facebook, which only made my stomach twist harder. He didn't come home until the next morning. I told myself not to overreact. I told myself he just needed time. But then he did it again. This time without even telling me. He just didn't come home. No messages. No updates. Ignored all my calls. I barely slept, convinced something terrible had happened to him, until I saw he was active online again. The pit in my chest went cold. Last Saturday, he didn't come home again. That was when the fear finally turned into certainty. He had to be seeing someone. There was no other explanation for disappearing 3 nights in 2 months, always in the same area. Always ignoring me. Always online but pretending not to be. I tried calling him over and over. He finally responded with a short, blunt message telling me to stop and that he'd be back tomorrow. No reassurance. No explanation. Nothing to calm the storm he'd created inside me. By Sunday morning, I snapped. I barricaded the door. I didn't want him walking in like everything was normal. I told him I knew. He was being unfaithful. Eventually, after hours, I let him in. He stood there like nothing was wrong, like I was the one being dramatic. Then, he finally said it. He was going to tell me the truth. He told me he had met another woman in person, that he went on a walking date with her, that the nights he disappeared, he was sleeping in his car because he needed time to think about the future. This entire week has been an avalanche. Every day another lie, another confession, another piece of reality collapsing on top of me. At first it was the walking date, then the overnight stays, then the thinking about the future. But it didn't stop there. It kept unraveling until there was nothing left for him to hide behind. Now he's told me everything. Or, at least I think he has, though at this point I don't even know what everything means. He admitted he had 2 one-night stands this year. One in March, one in June. Both happened while I was pregnant. Both times, he says he felt bad afterward, like the guilt somehow makes it better. He says he was missing something in his life, that there's this void inside him he needed to fill. He talks about it like it's a spiritual crisis instead of cheating on the mother of his children while she was carrying his baby. After that, he says he didn't want random hookups anymore, so he started looking for something more serious. That's when he met her, the woman he's been sneaking off to see. The woman he's been staying overnight with. The woman he's been intimate with multiple times, as he said when he finally stopped trying to soften the truth. And the worst thing? He is obsessed with her. You can hear it in the way he talks about her. Like she's this portal to the life he thinks he should have had. Freedom. Adventure. Someone with no children. No responsibilities. Someone interesting. Someone who can just drop everything and go kayaking or hiking or camping in the woods because she isn't stuck at home feeding a refluxing 5-month-old all night. What kills me is she's older than me. She doesn't drive. She's a massive nerd. She ticks every box of the things he's insulted me for. Every criticism thrown at me, my age, my hobbies, my lack of independence, she embodies all of them. But she has what he says I lack, autonomy. A life outside of him. Meanwhile, I'm the boring one. The woman who has no drive. The one who never does anything. As if looking after a baby who screams from pain every time he eats is laziness. As if raising our children is somehow less valuable than whatever thrill this new woman gives him. His parents know what he's like. They've known longer than I have. They've even offered me a place to stay multiple times over the years. They've hinted he might be a narcissist. They've told me gently, cautiously, that I deserve better. But I still love him. I hate that I do, but I do. I'm in shock. My mind keeps trying to rewrite everything so it makes sense, but it doesn't. It can't. And now he's giving me a choice. Stay with him if I let him continue this relationship with her. He actually said that if I let him have her, he'll choose to stay. That he'll work on himself, help me build my confidence, let me have freedom now that he's taken mine away for years. He knows I want more children. He knows I want a family. He knows I love him. And he's using all of that as leverage to keep me here, while also keeping her. He's lying to her too, of course. He told her we've been split up all year, even though we sleep in the same bed. He told her he has his own room in the house. He told her a version of his life where he's less monstrous, less cruel. And maybe the saddest part is that his crumbs of freedom this week feel like revelations. I finally bought myself an instrument I've wanted since I was 15. I booked driving lessons for next week. Little things that feel like rebellion because he's controlled even my smallest choices for so long. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I feel like I'm walking through fog, bumping into walls, trying to make decisions when I can't even trust my own sense of direction. Part of me wants to pack up and leave with the children, but then I look at them, so innocent, so happy, completely unaware of the chaos happening behind the scenes, and my stomach twists. My oldest loves his school. He finally has friends, real friendships, the kind I never had growing up. If I left, I'd be ripping him away from all of that. And my partner's parents, the only real support system I even slightly have, live in another country. And then there's her. I keep going back to her profile like I'm poking a bruise to see if it still hurts. It does. She's everything I'm not. Slimmer, artistic, someone who travels the world and has the kind of freedom I haven't tasted in years. I compare myself to her until I feel physically sick. I'm the opposite. Stuck inside all day, every day, with a 5-month-old who needs me constantly, falling behind on housework, barely sleeping. I can't even remember the last time someone took care of me. He certainly doesn't. He's never changed a nappy, never done a night feed. And despite everything, despite the lies, the cheating, the humiliation, I still love him. Or maybe I love the version of him I thought was real. I told him I want intimacy back, actual connection, not these stiff hugs he gives me now like he's fulfilling a quota. I can't tell if he's being affectionate or if he's just doing it because he knows he has all the power. He told me he cares, but only because I'm the mother of his children. Not because I'm his partner. Not because I'm someone he cherishes. Just because I'm tied to him by bloodlines he created. And then he said the thing that broke whatever was left of me, that he's willing to stay with me, willing to keep our family together as long as I let him keep seeing her. That I can set rules, like I'm supposed to manage my own heartbreak with a checklist. That we can carry on living in this dream house, pretending everything is fine. It's tearing me apart. Every hour feels like a new wave of grief. But the thought of leaving, of doing this alone, of uprooting my children, of starting over with nothing, terrifies me just as much.